The cleaning lady's like, she's dying, call an ambulance. And I'm just like trying to breathe. I'm in the bathroom, literally fainting. Like I'm losing consciousness because I'm just such in a state of stress and fight or flight. My cortisol is like, woo, party, you know? It was a trap for a while to try and find myself within my page, who I actually wanted to be. So then I would have dessert, me, workout. And I always wanted to post me like dancing. I did one in my pig costume where I'm dancing, where I'll actually show you after. Mm-hmm. And I had the pre-workout, and I thought that was really funny. I'm like, pre-workout, and it's like, what you gonna do with that dessert? Do that, do that, eat that, you know, like in the pig costume, and I'm just like dancing. And I sent it to them, and they're like, Erin, we just want you squatting. Like it's not just hard.
Booty pictures.
No pig.
Yeah.
So then you kind of get into that.
Because it really is hilariously exactly the opposite thing that they want.
Yeah.
Because a pig is like the exact thing
opposite.
that they want. Yeah.
It's not booty.
That is so hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. So fell into that trap for a bit. Mm-hmm. And then eventually it didn't give me much, right?
Yeah.
But
you had followers.
But I had followers, you know? So I would meet people, and then some of my friends would be like, oh my gosh, she's Instagram famous. And people are like, oh my God, that's so cool. And I'd be like, yeah, you know, it's great. Mm-hmm. Mega imposter syndrome.
Ooh,
mega just.
Now it came back again another way.
Oh yeah. Mega imposter syndrome from getting stuff from companies and being like, wow, like stressed. Like, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to prove to them that I'm worthy of representing their brand? You know? And then now this imposter syndrome just continues and the lack continues until eventually I get to the point where I have 10,000 followers on Instagram. I'm working at a job that I love. I have great people around me. I have the body of my dreams, and I'm still in lack. Mm-hmm. And what the fuck? Like what? You know, you kind of, and then you get frustrated and you're like, I did everything. Like I'm doing little meditations. I ate the celery.
Oh God.
Banded bananas.
Oh God.
I did it all. I did it, and you're so frustrated. I remember looking in the mirror and being like, why? And I was so angry. And I was like, why am I having a panic attack? Like I would be working and I would stop breathing. So again, that's what I learned back in my first story. Yep. So then I'd get into this point, and even then I was still like, this can't be anxiety. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with me. My fingers would get purple and I would get like crinkly. Ooh. Yeah, and then I was at work and I was like, I don't know what's happening. And thankfully, like best boss in the world was like, my dear, you're just having a panic attack. Like it's okay. And then when you're in it, you're like, no, like I'm dying. Like this is it. This is the end. And then the cleaning lady's like, she's dying. Call an ambulance. And I'm just like trying to breathe. I'm in the bathroom, literally fainting. Like I'm losing consciousness because I'm just such in a state of stress and fight or flight. My cortisol is like, woo, party, you know? So then thankfully enough, they were like, let's bring you upstairs to a room, because I worked in a hotel, right? So they're like, let's put you in the room. Let's bring you some tea. Like they were so kind and so compassionate. And then the boss was like, let's play tic-tac-toe, you know? And that's when I started to understand anxiety, because he had moved through it and he started to explain to me what it was, instead of just the doctor being like, anxiety, here's some pills that you can take, like you're fucked up, you know? Mm-hmm. So now I actually started to get a different point of view on it. And I started to get a little bit more inspired at that point. And yeah, I'm like, what point of the story do you want to say?
I mean,
I think the ultimate question is, did the tic-tac-toe work?
It really worked. It really, really worked.
So when do you still feel like you have anxiety?
Do I still play tic-tac-toe?
And do you still play? Like, what do you do when you have anxiety now?
So now it's so different, because I don't call it anxiety anymore. I just call it resistance. So yes.
See there, ladies and gentlemen. There. See here. That was what we call a reframe. See this frame and then that frame. Reframe. That was a reframe.
Yes.
Well done. Okay. All right. So you're using some NLP techniques or whatever. Yeah. You're reframing stuff in your mind. Great.
Yeah. So it's resistance, and it's so simple. It's just when there is a true me, who is, you know, in my wholeness and is the light. Mm-hmm. And then there's actions and behaviors and thoughts that are not me. And when I'm in that goblin, we'll call it the resistance goblin.
Ooh, I like that.
That's when I start to feel disconnected. So it's just not in alignment. It's just a different vibration. It's just that we've set ourselves in a different wavelength. And it's so like, I wish somebody would have told me this when I was 15. I wish that somebody would have just stopped me and been like, hey, you are not anxiety. You are moving through it. You are just shifting from your true potential. You're just not in alignment with who you actually are. You're not up to date with your worthiness. You're not there yet. So it doesn't mean that you don't have potential. It doesn't mean that you're doomed to a life of anxiety. Opposite, it means that you have so much potential and you're not claiming it. So your body's like, what the fuck are you doing? And then you start to feel anxious. And now the difference is that when that happens, it's not the negative base fuel anymore that's behind that. Because before it'd be, why am I like this? Why am I anxious? I'm doing so much to change here. Nothing's changing. It got to the point where now it's like, okay, I love myself so much and I'm clearly going through something. What's wrong? How are you not in alignment with yourself right now? And what can you do to get there? So instead of looking at myself being like, fat piece of shit, you suck, you know? Now I'm like, oh my God, I love you so much. Like, how can I be there? Like, what's up, girl? Like literally just talking to yourself and acknowledging the vibrations are different. Okay, cool. How? Why? What can you do to change it? I'm gonna cry. It was so powerful. It was so powerful. Tic-tac-toe worked.
No, you use humor as a way of I'll say something about you if you will allow.
Yes.
You use humor as a way of sometimes hiding the deep work that you've done.
Oh yes.
And that was really powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just want to see, like, I acknowledge the way that you communicate, the way that you're like now like really clear about the feeling that you're moving through, the reframe, like you're doing these things that you didn't name. I'm naming them for you in a sense, but the idea of you transitioning through this story and through these identities and through like, cause what I see is like, you would probably have a lot of anxiety when you were out of alignment as well, right? You can call it resistance. One piece of that is resistance, but you feel resistance when energy's trying to flow through your body. If you want to see the chakras, let's say behind you, right? The chakras. They're moving through your chakras.
They're all blocked by
Yeah.
bacon.
No, at this point it was cottage cheese and muffins.
3 scoops of protein powder. Like
you're backed up with too many bananas. Too
my
much
farts
banana.
were so bad.